back, everybody, to WTL. Where's the line? Nebraska's first and only sports betting show. I am your host, Andy Klassen, joined by
Jabron.
the Parlay Pounder.
You got it. You got it.
We did that opening round, a couple of Saturday games there for NFL. Now we got to get into the Sunday games, don't we?
For sure. Let's do it.
And this could be a lot of fun because you got one team that might have had a season maybe a little bit better than what a lot of folks were thinking in the Atlanta Falcons, and the Saints just staying right in the middle of the pack like they always do. Yeah. But if things, if the cookie crumbles their way, they could play themselves into a playoff spot here. They're sitting at 8-8, and they get the Atlanta Falcons at home in the Caesars Superdome, and it's a field goal line. It's a -3 New Orleans Saints favorite. Jabron, this one has it all.
Yeah, it does, Andy. And like we just talked about with the Buccaneers and Panthers, division rivalry game, one team not playing for anything, one playing for that, final playoff spot with the NFC South on the line, Andy. I think I'll probably stick with the Saints here. They posted a pretty solid victory over the Bucs last game.
Yep.
The Saints are pretty good. They're on a pretty good scoring run right now, on posting 22 or more points in each game of their last 5. So that's pretty dang good for the Saints. As for Atlanta, they've been at 17 or fewer points in the last 3 of 5 games and may have some issues finding room against this pretty decent New Orleans defense. So I just like the team with something on the line to probably have a way better game this week.
Yeah. And when you're looking at Atlanta, what you're really looking at, coaches coaching to keep their job, players playing to keep the coaches happy and to keep their job into next season. So it's not like they don't have anything on the line. Taylor Heineke actually got back into the game and did really well for Atlanta. Kind of reminded some folks that, this might have been our best quarterback all along. Do you think we're going to see more of Heineke? Because that's what I'm hearing.
I would say that he probably starts this game, and that could be a big spark of motivation for the Falcons. That's why I'm not saying that the Saints are going to blow these guys out. I just don't believe it's going to be that kind of game, but I do believe the Saints probably do win by a field goal. You look at the Falcons, and they posted just 300 yards and 15 first downs against the Bears and had 4 interceptions as well. So that's what you're seeing, trying to get Heineke into that spot and having less turnovers. So I do like the Saints, but the Falcons could surprise some people here, and it definitely wouldn't surprise me.
Divisional game, end of the year, could really tighten up. I still like New Orleans for the win. I like New Orleans for the cover. 42.5 is your total. Jabron, what do you think of that?
Yeah, Andy, that's probably right where it should be. Like we said, Saints are averaging about 24 points a game right now. This Falcons under 17. I mean, just because there's so much on the line for the Saints, I do believe they're going to try and score often and early. So I would side with the over in this game.
All righty, that's a Sunday high noon kickoff over on CBS. Should we move on over to an NFC North clash?
Let's do it.
My Chicago Bears are at 7-9, taking on the Green Bay Packers that still have a little bit of life in them. They're sitting at 8-8, still trying to vie. A slim chance here for a playoff spot. That total is being bet down to 44, and Green Bay is only a 3-point favorite at home.
Yeah, Andy, I really like the Packers here. I'm sorry to say. Both these teams coming to the game playing really well, but the Green Bay Packers, like you said, have a spot to clinch a playoff spot here. The Packers have been pretty inconsistent this season, obviously, but they have scored 33 points in each of their last 2 games, Andy. Green Bay will also have the home field advantage, like you said, which is huge in this situation. Going to be cold up there. Chicago has won 4 of the last 5, and their offense has scored at least 27 in the last 3 or 4. So this should, no matter what, should be a very, very good game, Andy.
Yeah.
And I can't wait to watch it.
Yeah, a lot of the point predictors actually have Green Bay kind of pulling away at the end there, but then you're seeing the line coming out of Vegas and all the books tightening up and staying at 3. So it makes me think, well, something's going on there, and it's probably that end of season divisional game. And I alluded to it earlier, and we've talked about it, how end of the season here, funny things come into play, like, what are they playing for? They're not trying to stay injured. They don't want guys to get hurt. I think Chicago's on the other end of this. This is where you have a motivated quarterback in Justin Fields that wants to keep his job. He is
Yeah.
playing for his job. Eberflus, the word is the head coach of Chicago is that he's going to be resigned, but I don't know if he officially has been yet. So
Yeah.
he's kind of coaching for his job. So there's a lot of things on the line for Chicago here, so to where they can't afford to go into Green Bay and just roll over. And oh, by the way, they could end the season, just one game under 500, have a lot of positive momentum and still a decent draft spot. Not that that's going to play into any of this anyhow. I think that's such an over, played type of scenario. Oh, we're going to lose games for a draft spot. But point being is I think Chicago's coming to play. And if I can get this point spread to move off of 3.5, 4, I'm all over Chicago. I don't know if you like them that much, but I think it's going to be a field goal or less type of game.
Yeah, the two things that I'm looking at here, Andy. One, the Bears are only 2-6 on the road this season, and this is going to be a very difficult place to play this Sunday. The other thing I'm looking at is one of those bonuses. Another one.
Here we go.
Love, $500,000 if the Packers win. If they win, get a playoff spot. So his over-under is only sitting at 240 passing yards for his player prop too. I believe that goes way over. This guy is going to be doing everything he can to win this game. $500,000 in the bag if they win this game.
All they got to do is win, and he gets 500,000.
That's it.
Man, that's putting a lot of pressure on all of his teammates too. Then,
yes, it is.
Jeez, well, what do you think of that total then at 44? That's pretty much where it opened up. Not a lot of movement there on that over/under.
No, if the Green Bay Packers want to win this game, I do believe they're going to have to score some points, Andy. So I do like the over because, like you said, Justin Fields playing very, very well right now. Yeah. He is going to get in the end zone. So I do believe the over hits here. The Packers win, and they go to the playoffs.
Well, two little things to think of. Chicago has covered 5 of the last 6 games, and the under has smacked 6 of the last 9 games for Chicago. So a little pause, a little warning there heading into Lambeau Field on a cold January 7th day.
Gotta love it.
All righty. Well, we got plenty of time then to really talk about, in my mind, the game of the week here. This one has it all. The Miami Dolphins at 11-5 are hosting the Buffalo Bills, the resurging Buffalo Bills, who really ended up at about where we thought they would be, right? 10-6, maybe we were thinking 11-5 or 12-4, but they ended up riding the ship. And I don't know if there's a hotter quarterback in the league. You can say Lamar Jackson, but right there in the 2-hole would have to be Josh Allen. He has been playing lights out, and he's not just relying on his legs like early in the season and seasons past. He is airing it out, being really smart with the football.
Yeah, no doubt about it, Andy. Like you said, Lamar Jackson probably the front runner for the MVP and very much well deserved with locking that AFC number 1 seed up. But Josh Allen over the past few weeks, I don't know if anybody can say that there's a better football player in the NFL right now than Josh Allen. This is a massive game in the playoff race, as the winner of this matchup will be the AFC East champion and get to host that beloved playoff game. Miami will have the home field advantage where they are 7-1 this season, Andy, but are coming off a blowout loss on the road to who? Lamar Jackson.
So, right.
Buffalo has won 4 games in a row, but they are only 3-4 on the road this season, Andy. This has everything. Yeah. I cannot wait to watch this game. But if Miami is getting points at home, it is so hard for me to go against that. They are so good at home, and they have a lot to play for too. They want to prove to everybody that they should be in this Super Bowl talk.
Yeah, that just feels so wacky, doesn't it? That Miami is a 3-point dog at home with a game like this. I know Buffalo needs the win maybe a little bit more, to solidify their spot in the playoffs. And Miami's ticked off. I think that is a ticked off team. And I also think you're seeing pause really from bettors across the nation here, because it opened at 2. It's staying right there at about 3. You also have that total. Not a lot of movement. A lot of books had it at 48.5 when it opened. Now it's only at 49. So I think everyone's really looking forward to watching this game. Just maybe not ready to lay a lot of money down on it.
No, exactly, Andy. And I think a lot of people have pushed pause on this game until the game actually starts. The reason being, Andy, is that everybody's high on the Bills right now, but and they forced a bunch of turnovers against New England last week, but the game was still a lot closer than people thought. Like they thought that they should just blow out that team. Buffalo also struggled the week prior when they only won 2 points against the Chargers. Another team that's really down, and they barely beat them. So I believe this game is going to be a lot of fun to watch, but I do believe Miami does have the advantage, obviously being at home, and I think just being the better football team in general.
Yeah, and Buffalo doesn't cover. They've only covered 3 of their last 12 games. And on the opposite end, Miami's like a complete opposite on that. They have covered 13 of the last 9, so only 6 times, and we've seen a couple recently where they haven't been able to cover, but traditionally at home, Dolphins have been money all season long.
Yeah, for sure, Andy. And one of those player props, one of those incentivized things I want to talk about is Tyreek Hill.
Oh, let's hear it.
248 yards to break the single season receiving record, Andy. His over-under on receiving yards right now is at 94.5. It's only at 94.5 for his over-under. I believe that they're gonna try and get this close. I don't believe he's gonna get 250 yards. That'd be absolutely wild. But if he can get a couple humdingers real early in this one, a 75-yard touchdown or something like that, this 250 could be in reach for him. That 94.5 is definitely hitting. Give me that over on Tyreek Hill receiving yards.
Stranger things, right? And we've seen this before. The Commanders game comes to mind where he caught that bomb on the very first series for 70 yards for a touchdown. So you pair a couple of those up and you're in business.
You're in business. But no matter what, 94.5, that's easy for Tyreek, especially when they're going to try and get him the ball. And they still have to win this game. And he is an integral part of that.
You're exactly right. So stats aside and all the fun stuff aside, they still got business to take care of.
Yes,
all right,
sir.
Mr. Parlay Pounder, do you got some player props? Is that what I'm hearing?
I don't necessarily have a parlay, but I got some player props that I want people to take a look at with these incentives this weekend. First one I want to talk about is Geno Smith. If he makes the playoffs, it is a $2 million bonus for Geno if they make the playoffs. His over-under at passing yards is at 237 yards right now. I believe that is a lock for him this week. $2 million if they win this week and get in the playoffs. Puka Nacua of the Los Angeles Rams, they have already clinched a playoff spot, but he only needs 29 yards, Andy, to break the rookie wide receiver yards record in the NFL. Look for his catches and his yards that come out later this week. I believe he's going to be getting the ball. Sean McVay is aware of this record and definitely wants him to get it. So definitely over on catches for Puka Nacua. Last one I want to talk about is Jadeveon Clowney needs a half sack for $500,000 against the Steelers, who have the 31st offensive line in the league. He is definitely going to go for over half a sack. That is where his line's sitting right now. For $500,000, I believe he is going to get a sack. Put money on those guys. They are going to be trying their hardest to make this money, and I love all these lines.
Yeah, I do too. Clowney is only at a half a sack right now.
Yep.
Drop what you're doing, drive to Colorado or Iowa and get that player prop in right now. He is definitely going over. And the defensive coaches are going to be calling plays, dialing him up for him to get those pressures and those opportunities. Well aware of that $500,000 bonus.
No doubt about it. They love to get these guys paid at the end of the year, especially that Geno one. He's going to be airing it out. $2 million if they make the playoffs. It's crazy. So I really like those ones, but I think Tyreek Hill over 94.5 yards is still a lock of the week. They're not going to be able to hold a lid on that guy.
Love it. Love those nuggets there, Jabron. That's why we keep bringing you back, right?
That's it. That's it.
Let's take a minute to recognize one of our fabulous partners, and that is the Stock and Rod Company, an outdoor lifestyle brand for those seeking adventure. Whether it's hunting, fishing, hiking, they got you covered. Visit stockandrod.com to get your wild game on. Don't go anywhere. This is WTL.